Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash, and of course I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today you join me at Oak Camp. As you see, it's my little home away from home for the next 10 days, maybe 7 days, and in the past you've seen me spending some time in my woodland retreat, which I call Oak Lodge, which is just a glorified hut in the woods. And in fact, it's less than 100 meters that way to Oak Lodge. But for this year, I thought I'd have a little change and go under canvas. So as you see, my wonderful Oak Camp is already set up, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the facilities here in just a moment. But the whole point behind this, and you might think this strange, because obviously my channel is a men's lifestyle channel, which often talks about the qualities of men's clothing and the benefits that can be gained for one's self-esteem, personal confidence and so on, and the image that we project to others in the way that we dress. Well, in the next few days you're going to see me, not dressed particularly well, wearing the same clothes day after day, unshaven, everything else. So it's going to be a little bit different from the norm. But however, there is method to my madness, and there's good reason for that. And I'll tell you all about that. So why don't we just step over a little closer to the fire. I'll just tell you what time it is. It is 9:30 p.m, so 21:30 here in the UK. It is the month of May, so it's extremely long light days. It's probably just on the turn of going dark. I don't know how the camera is interpreting the light, but it is actually quite dark here right now. Not black dark, but we're on that journey. Within half an hour, it's going to be very dark indeed. So let's try and get done what we can whilst we still have some light, and before I have to retreat into my tent. But I'll tell you what we can expect over the next week or two in Oak Camp. So let's go and have a chat by the fire. Okay folks, so there we go. A lot more comfortable sat by the fire because it is cooling down, although spring here in the UK is quite a mild time of year really, and it's dry and it's warm. Not at all how people imagine the UK often. They think it's wet and rainy all the time. Absolutely not at all. We're heading towards a Mediterranean climate in this country because of, well, the effects of global warming, which is somewhat concerning. However, you've got to take the advantage when you can. So why am I, a guy who often talks about men's lifestyle, talking to you from a campfire in the middle of a field just outside a wood in southern England? Well, the reason is all about mental well-being and the resilience of being a human being, a chap in the modern world. Because I think in this day and age, we don't take enough time to ourselves. We do not take enough time to take a breath and gather our thoughts. And for me, I often take a period in the summertime. My family are busy. My son's in school doing exams at this period of time. My wife has got quite an intense job. She's works long days, and I spend a lot of time just playing catch up, juggling the requirements of life. So I like to take a period of time where I can be on my own, out in nature. And if I was to be silent for a moment, you would hear, the birds in the trees, they're settling down to nest. You would hear, various animals scratching around the undergrowth. You might hear agricultural machinery. They've just been gathering in the hay in one of the neighbouring fields. Lots going on. It's the circle of life, the evolution of, normality. And at times like this, I like to just come to anywhere. I like to come to my hut normally, but right now I'm at a tent, which adds a slightly different level of difficulty to the things which, that I have to focus upon. Because when you're camping, spending time outdoors, your focus changes from all of those things which drag you down, or that weight upon your shoulder when you're at home normally, juggling work, family, maybe your health, maybe your finances, all of those things which make up ordinary life. When you're out here, you tend to focus on the hierarchy of your needs, right? You might have heard of Maslow's hierarchy. And when you're down towards the base of that triangle, you tend to think of shelter, of warmth, of food, simple things like that. And when you're focusing on those things, you tend to be distracted from the things which cause you stress, worry and fear in life. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just chilling, enjoying some time away from, ironically, social media. Even though I'm recording this, I am not actually having access to social media per se over the next week or so. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to have a week of a variety of different activities here in the woodland. I'm going to do an outdoor shave in the morning because I've got a couple of days stubble on the chin here. That's got to come off. I'm going to show you how I light my fire, because I'm a bushcraft enthusiast. Again, it's something which is great for resilience, about learning how to look after yourself. And I don't use matches or lighters to start a fire. I use simple fire steel, fat wood, which I harvest from the woods behind me. And, you know, I tend to become a much more basic human being when I'm out here, using the skills which bring me pleasure and also give me mental resilience. We're going to talk about some of the things which I have here. I'm going to do a woodland everyday carry, just to show you what I've got, the kit I'm using, which is helping my life, carry on. I'm going to show you something in a minute in my tent, which is along those lines. And, we're going to cook out here. I'm going to show you at least 2 meals, which I prepare from scratch on the fire, which are going to sustain me over the next week. So whilst I'm enjoying this cleansing period of being in the woodland, I hope that you can take on some of this enjoyment through osmosis as well, by watching me and sharing this experience with me. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you on a quick guided tour, and it's going to be quick because it's a small campsite, of my little campsite. So I'm going to use my iPhone here. I'm going to put it on the old camera function, and I will walk around and take you on a tour. So let me show you where you are for a starter. There is the camera facing me, and to put you in perspective, there is that fire. And as you can see, I've got a fire pit. Now I'm lucky I've been able to bring quite a lot of kit with me because it's not too far from my usual base, which is Oak Lodge. So Oak Camp here is a little bit more basic, shall we say. So there's my fire pit, lots of wood I've been chopping today. There's my camp axe there just alongside it, so I've been chopping the wood. You can see my cast iron Dutch oven behind me, which is an idea of what we will be dining on in the future days. So what else have we got here? There's my little chair and a little occasional table which I made a while ago. One of my pots there, my little radio. One of my indulgences when I'm in the woodland is I like to listen to the radio. That is my link to the outside world and brings me enormous pleasure. So walking around the campsite, what else have I got here to show you? There is my main table. So I made this table just a short while ago from some offcuts of wood which were left over from a decking which I had built in my garden, and I didn't want to throw it away or waste it, so I only had to buy the coach boats, which are these things here, which actually hold the legs to the top part of the table. Everything you see there was made using just a handsaw and a screwdriver. So that's my main table, and you'll see me demonstrating some things on here. There's just some of the kit that I've been using today on here. My water bottle, my torch. This will be in my everyday carry video later in the week. And of course, the essential that every gentleman needs when he's in the woods. This is in fact a fabulous bushcraft knife. New to me, only had it a week. It's by a local company called Fitzroy Knives from Bristol. So designed only 20 miles from where I am. And yeah, that is turning out to be an absolute godsend. So we're going to talk about that later. Just in those trees, if you can just, I'll step over into the darkness of the trees here. You can just see my hammock. Here it is, little hammock which I have here for those restful afternoons when I'm sitting contemplating the world. And let's have a look. There's my tent, of course. As you can see, looking rather large actually. It's quite a big tent, very inexpensive, purchased from Costco for under £100, and it's working out a treat. So I'll show you what's inside there in a moment. But people often ask me when I camp at Oak Lodge, what are the ablution facilities like? So over here we have, you might recognize this, it's my outdoor shaving station. So it, again, something I constructed myself, just using a simple A-frame with some leftover wood. There we have a mirror. Hang on, let's have a look. Can you see me there? Hello, here I am. And just a little simple platform where I put my shaving bits and pieces, ready to do the shave. And a little table alongside here, again, constructed from leftover wood, nothing goes to waste. So I'll just show you where we are in this little woodland. So just in the edge of this clearing, which I mowed specially on the weekend to make it look nice. Next door we have agricultural land, and what can we see? Hang on, there is a creature. Oh, something is in there. I think it's a fox just running off into the undergrowth. So there we go. Shows this stuff everywhere, doesn't it? So here's my tent. Let's just zoom out so you can see it perhaps as better as you can. There's my campfire just over here. So here's my tent. Let me just walk around so I don't trip over these guy ropes, because it is getting rather dark here now. So there's my little tent, and I will show you what the living conditions are like. So inside, step through the mosquito nets, pretty sparsely furnished. There's just a bed with my sleeping bag, a little rug on the floor, a little occasional table here, camping table, which I've got some pots and pans, plates, things like that. Another chair in here, and as I say, I do have the luxury of a camp bed with a pretty basic sleeping bag, and I've got some spare blankets as well tucked away, so if it gets rather chilly, but it has been quite warm in the evenings. And I have the room illuminated at the moment by a product which I'm going to talk to you about now, but I'm going to switch over to my other camera. I just wanted to show you what it was like inside my oak camp, and just to prove the point that it is oak camp, hang on, step outside. You can see we have, oh, it's very dark, you can't quite see it. There is my oak camp logo, the famous oak leaf, which you will often see outside Oak Lodge. I made one specially for oak camp. So let me switch to the other camera. Okay, so there we are. Well, I've changed over to my other camera, and you join me back in the dinginess now of my tent. And it looks a little more dingy because I've taken the light down where I was hanging it just on the central sort of support there. And I want to show you this wonderful bit of kit which I've been using for the last few days, and it is truly a game changer if you're into camping and things like this. Because what I hold here in my hand is actually an Olight Bulb Plus. Now, Olight is a company which has been providing illumination solutions for quite a few years, and I've owned quite a few of their torches. In fact, my everyday carry torch is a small torch I carry in my bag, and I've had that for a couple of years now. That was something I got from Olight, and it's been working wonderfully. I've got a much larger torch which I'm using here, their Morada torch, which I'll show you later in the week. But in my tent, the invaluable bit of kit which I have here is actually this Olight Bulb Plus. Now, what is it? Well, it's an orb which is rechargeable, so it doesn't take batteries. You charge it from a USB port quite simply by plugging it in, and it charges via a magnetic device which clips onto the bottom, so easy to charge up. And it provides many different illumination options. This is the wonder of it. It's simple. You just tap it and you get on and off. There you go. I've disappeared. There we go. I've come back. And it's quite easy to use. Touch sensitive. Simple as that. Let me put it down for a moment. Oh, I should say as well, being magnetic underneath, it is ideal. If I stuck it here on my central support in the tent, you can't actually see it. It's out of your field of vision, but it's perfect for sticking onto anything magnetic. So in a tent like this, it's ideal. It also comes with a little hook which you can clip on, and you can then hang it anywhere in a tent should you wish, or anywhere else. So if you're in your home and you're worried about, you know, I don't know, shall we say power failures, it's a great item to use. It throws out 300 lumens of power when on maximum. And I know what you're thinking. Surely that can't actually sustain that for very long if it's only a small rechargeable orb device like this, which is not that large. I think it's 3¼ inches in diameter, so it's not a huge item. It's not very heavy either. Ideal for carrying around. Well, actually, on maximum power, this baby will burn for 3¼ hours. So you get quite a lot of illumination from this. However, on the lower setting, and I'll show you the settings in a moment, it will burn for 49 hours. So if you're out camping and you're happy to use it on the lower setting, it will go on for hour after hour. Now, as well as being touch sensitive, and this is what I like with new technology, you can use it via an app. It connects via Bluetooth, and then I have a whole range of control over this item. So I can tell you right now that this is 35% of its illumination power potential. If I turn it up, we get a much stronger illumination, which totally lights up my little tent here. And as I say, that would burn for 3 hours like that. On this setting here, much lower, but still enough to see around inside my tent, this would burn for 49 hours at this level of illumination. You can see my camera now is adjusted to it. It shows you just how bright that is. In the middle setting here, whoosh, quite a big flare of light. It gives me quite a lot of potential. So, you know, for keeping my little tent going for a week, I may not need to charge this at all in the coming week. However, this is not where it ends. This is what I like about technology. We have the option of colour, should we wish. So one night here, if I decide to have a bit of a party in the tent, I can opt for a whole range of colour options. This is a colour called, let's have a look, Aurora. So it's very blue, lots of dancing colours on there. I can have, let's have a look, what shall we have? Let's pick something else, something cheery. We can have something, you know, let's have a look, where is it? Bit of red, if I want to look a bit like, you know, the seedy districts in Amsterdam or wherever. And lots of things going on in that. You can have an artificial flame option. So if you want to keep warm in your tent through confusing your mind, thinking there's a fire in there, or your neighbours in a campsite thinking your tent's on fire, ideal to have in the tent. And there are a multitude of options here, all different colours. What's this one? Vitality, it's green. It's meant to cheer you up, perhaps. An autumn. Hang on, what have we got in autumn? It's a yellow one. And I hope it comes across to you as these colours, because I know the camera might be struggling a bit. And this is the blue sky with lots of little things on there. Now, there's lots of other things you can do with this as well. You can get the lights to dance around to the tempo of music or whatever else you want to do. But from my point of view, obviously staying in my tent here, trying to be as self-sufficient as possible, using, let's just get that back down there, a bit more reasonable, normal. That's 42% of its lighting potential, just so as you know. This little Olight Bulb Plus really is something which can be a game changer if you're in a tent. You're not sort of seeking out your candles or anything like that. You've got instant illumination, which will last for hours. It's variable and easy to recharge, and one charge should last you quite some time in a situation such as I'm facing here. The price of this little wonder is £55 However, go onto the Olight website, because they're constantly having some form of discount or special feature where you'll be able to pick them up sometimes for even less. So I really love this bit of kit. I'm not paid to talk about this, by the way. I've been working with Olight for some time, and they have provided my lighting solutions for a number of years very successfully. I've never been disappointed. And this new bit of kit is no different. It is really making life a lot easier for me here in my tent. So I thought I would share that with you tonight. Excuse me. So there we go. This is the beginning of several videos from Oak Camp, where you'll see me living here, staying here, and getting up to hijinks in the woodland in the name of mental wellness and resilience of the mind. So I hope you've enjoyed this first video from Ocamp. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you would like to contribute to this conversation, leave it in the show notes below. Subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more videos like this, and certainly follow me on this series of about 5 or 6 videos from Ocamp and all the normal men's lifestyle sort of content which I normally produce. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee, or you can even become a patron. And I produce additional videos for my patrons, the links to which you will find again in the show notes below. Follow that, join me as a patron, and you will see the names of my esteemed patrons at the end of this video. So until the next time, take care. I'm ready for a nice warm night next to the fire, and then into my sleeping bag, and I'm going to drop asleep with the sound of owls and foxes in the background. So until the next time, take care, and I will see you again very soon.